Alright, hey guys, this is the MTGnoob here along with
Coach JBK, aka Josh.
Okay, and we are going to be bringing you a For the Noobs video. This video will entail all of the magic accessories and pimped out stuff that you should be bringing to your tournaments in real life. So, Josh, we're going to start with the most expensive accessories on Earth. Do you happen to know what those are?
Outfit.
Yeah, that. You should wear clothes, shower, all that stuff. But I'm talking about a good old pen or pencil and a piece of paper, or even better, a notebook / pad.
I'd say a small pad, yeah.
Yeah, a small pad. You're not bringing like one of those giant art pads that you see those kids in high school have.
Or a clipboard. I think a clipboard is kind of intimidating.
Yeah, clipboard could be good, but it's pretty much common sense in Magic that you start at 20 and you end up at 0, and a lot of times all these discrepancies that happen with life totals can be prevented if you're just keeping good track of your score in your life. Another thing that a pen and pad is used for is you could take notes with your match. You can take notes on your sideboard strategies and have them there, and it really ends up being helpful.
I agree.
Okay, another thing that you might want to start bringing to your tournament is counters and or dice, preferably both. There's a few different types of dice you should purchase. They're not very expensive, but they are very handy. The most common one I would have to say is the 20-sided spin-down die. There is also the 20-sided die that does not spin down. From my own personal experience, Coach, I hate me a non-spin-down die.
Mm-hmm.
I find it distracting, and the only good purpose it has is the randomization of rolling to see who goes first.
I agree, but let me chip in here and say that at my magic shop anyway, guys like to roll 2 individual die just because I don't know what the theory is here really, but it supposedly increases the random nature of the end total. So.
Yeah, speaking of 6-sided dice, a good brand of dice to buy is the ChessX, which is, I believe it's 30 or 36 very tiny 6-sided die.
Okay.
And you can use these for rolling to see who goes first, but you can actually also use these for counters. So if a creature gets a +1 counter, you could put a die with a 1 on it. And it's really, really exceptionally great for keeping track of your planeswalkers' loyalty points.
Gotcha.
Okay, another thing about counters is counters are pretty good. You know, more or less you don't want to clutter up your cards, which is why I suggest dice. But anything from a little piece of paper all the way up to a big shiny fancy die or dice will work for keeping track and counting, essentially.
Right. I have a bunch of different kinds of counters, but my favorites are these small origami animals that some of my students over the years have constructed for me during important lectures in class. And so I've got a small origami pterodactyl that's always a big hit at my shop for a counter.
That sounds good. If we ever play in real life, I will make sure I try to steal that just like your Kithkin avatar on mtgo.
Unsuccessfully.
Unsuccessfully. All right. So now we're talking cards. And you have your cards, and you want to keep your cards nice. The best way to do that is just to sleeve up your cards. You can buy penny sleeves. You can buy Ultra Pro. You can buy... what was it? The
Dragon Shields.
Dragon Shields.
Those
You
are
can
my
buy
faves.
any type you want. Just make sure they don't have a reflective surface, because that's kind of a way to cheat, even if you're not trying to do it on purpose. A good way to ask if you're going to a big tournament or a shop is to ask if these sleeves are tournament legal. Make sure you don't buy sleeves that are for Yu-Gi-Oh cards, because your fat Magic cards will not fit in them. And they come in a lot of varieties and colors. I find that you should always have a few extra sleeves in case your sleeves crack.
Yep.
And it's also good to have sleeves because when you shuffle your cards, they get randomized a little bit better. They're not clumped. They don't stick together because the sleeves keep it nice and loose. And it just keeps your cards from getting damaged, more or less, and dropping on the floor and getting dirty.
I agree. Important.
Okay. Okay, and you don't want to just have your cards in your hand. So you might want to pick up a deck box. Usually you'll see a lot of people who are at the shop more commonly have deck boxes of all types. A simple deck box would be good for standard or draft. If you want to play Commander, you'll need one of the larger deck boxes. You can even use like a 700 card count, one of the long boxes. You can have your school bag, but if you're going to a tournament, you want to bring all these items we've spoken about, and you want to have your deck in its box, and you want to have a deck divider, which is just like a little insert, a little piece of plastic. Sometimes they make them for Magic. They used to come in the fat packs, and you can use this to keep your sideboard separate from your main deck, which will help you stay organized throughout the tournament.
Right, and a lot of deck boxes just include that divider.
Yeah. It's. I didn't know about it until a few years ago, and I'm very disorganized, so it helped me out a lot. Okay, and then you see these lying around, you crack a pack, and you don't really care, but there's tokens everywhere. You can probably get a lot of tokens for free at your shop. People just toss them out like the garbage, but it's really important to collect these and have them match whatever deck you're playing. If you have a planeswalker that makes a token, you should have the correct token. If you don't, it just confuses the board state. If you're using pieces of paper or you're writing like a beast on a little scrap of paper, it's going to make it way less enjoyable. If you've ever watched any standard coverage of tournaments, the judge always has the proper tokens ready, and you could use funny things as tokens, but I find the tokens they provide pretty useful and helpful at keeping a clean game state.
Yeah, I agree. I actually watched and taped a standard match last night, and the guy had wolves, he had a hunt master out, and he had the beast token for the Thragtusk, so handy stuff. And also, when we did our limited draft last night, the first thing you do is remove, of course, the token card. And so there were tokens lying around everywhere. People really generally didn't want them, so it'd be an easy way to stock up going to limited events.
Yeah, and a lot of times your deck might make more than one different type of token, so make sure you have enough. Just overstock your tokens. If you think, all right, well, I'm probably only going to be making one beast. If you get in a situation where you're making 5 beasts, you can't just have that one with a die on it. It'll get a little bit confusing. For our last accessory, we're just talking about playmats now to kind of round out this video. Playmats are hit or miss, at least in my experience. I kind of find that they keep your game really organized. They give you your own sense of personal space, which is really nice when you're sitting in a room of hundreds of people. But the downside of playmats is they do take up more or less a little bit more space than you're allotted. So just kind of be conscientious of your space when using a playmat. They keep your cards nice. It's a smooth playing area. If the tables have drinks on them, you throw down your playmat, your cards won't get damaged. It keeps it neat, kind of fresh, organized, and it's nice to look at as you play. It makes you feel like you're in a whole nother world sometimes.
Right. I think also in limited events, if you got a playmat out while you're passing cards, packs of cards are a lot easier to pick up off of a playmat. I know last night the guy that was passing to me from one side kept putting the cards on the table, and I kept scrabbling at them, but I didn't want to be annoying and say, dude, would you just please put them on my playmat so I can pick them up? But it makes picking up cards a little bit easier as well.
Yeah, that is true, Coach. Well, I hope you enjoyed this For the Noobs video. This is the MTGnoob and
Josh.
And we hope that your magic is now a little bit more magical. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.